Welcome back. I'm playing Warhammer 40,000 Battlesector, and we'll get started on our next multiplayer match. We are going to be playing the Bridge Exterminatus objective with 3,000 points. I am playing as the Daemons of Khorne, and we're going to be going against a Tau player. We have a 100 point target with a 10 turn loadout. So if you're enjoying these videos, please give my channel a like and subscribe. Encourage me to post more content for you. So my plan for this map is to try to use the advantage of using the cannons to just kind of sit back and shoot at the enemy and make him come to us, and while he's wasting turns coming to us, we'll be able to just keep spawning demons in his face, because what happens is when your spawned units, or even the units that you summon when you're using your command points, if your command points has the ability to summon additional units, that doesn't count for the turn total for Exterminatus missions here. So that should be a bunch of free points that he'll have to kill and then not get rewarded for it, and then we just can keep poking down his units. So I have our forces deployed here. We got them kind of in different areas here. I've got 2 bloodthirsters to hopefully jump between the bridges. I've got 4 blood masters. I've got, I think, 6, if I remember correctly, skull cannons, and 3 soul grinders. The soul grinders may be a mistake. I think it would be good against any sort of mech suits, crisis suits, anybody else that he may bring with us. Now, the issue is if he uses hammerheads, he's gonna significantly outrange us. So I'm just gonna sit here and literally camp and have these skull cannons set up at range, and if he ends up having a bunch of stealth suits that he's gonna have to come and try to get me, then hopefully we'll waste his turns while he's being stealth and he'll end up right in front of us, and then we can jump on top of him. And if not, he has weak infantry, then we should be able to shoot those with the skull cannon on our turns. So we're literally just going to camp out, and he still hasn't gotten to us, so now we're a couple turns in, and now we're just going to start spawning all of our free units here, because they just need to be our fodder here. Let's see if we can see it. And he's got, what, 8 drones here, and they're all actually being buffed up with the ethereal, and actually with the evasion boost, it really drops my range pretty significantly. I actually had to double check it because I'm like, maybe I'm just not in the right spot here. But it just really increases their accuracy. Or evasion, I should say. So we land a couple of attacks, but it's like, oh jeez. So they're pretty cheap, and they should be able to chew apart my summoned units pretty easily. Now, perhaps what I can do is, if I get a bunch of hellhounds, I can then just flame them, because that may be highly effective as well. And we got another Bloodmaster, so we can just keep him in the back to try to summon additional units here. Big thing is we want to just keep the Bloodthirsters away, because if he ends up having the cadres, we don't want him to summon and, or not summon, we don't want him to give the ability for 100% accuracy, because he could easily snipe each of my heroes here. So what we want is to try to force him to send all those drones towards us, and if he takes the bait, then we can just jump on top of him. And if he stays grouped together, then I should be able to use the skull cannon charge, because that should just about kill anything we go charge through, and it should definitely kill whatever target it's going to end on. But I think each of those drones cost 40. So it's not an insignificant amount of points that he has tied up there. The other thing that I'm thinking about is if he stays grouped together, then maybe I can just run in there with my Bloodthirster and do their howl, and that will do some AoE effect, and maybe the 2 of them together may be able to destroy a lot of those drones. So I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do this, and I did see one of those beams, but I don't know if it came from a storm surge or if it ended up coming from a hammerhead gunship, or not gunship, but a hammerhead tank with a railgun on, which has a range of 10 if that's the case. So, and if he has super long guys, super long range guys, then these soul grinders are going to be a disaster, because I'm going to get outranged, and they're cost a lot of points, so it's going to end up putting me in a difficult position if he starts blowing those guys up from range, because everything else is pretty low cost in terms of points.
I am the Blood Master. I must burn.
So I'm just trying to pull him back as far as I can to try to decide how much do I want to go here. I just don't know how many stealth suits he's going to have. And again, pulling these guys back, and then I also want to have the Bloodthirsters in front of the Bloodmaster here, because what I don't want is for him to run down here and start sniping my HQ and then making me have to keep resetting my points. And then, just in case you're unaware, if the skull cannons are on Overwatch, if you attack on your turn, the skull cannons have a bunch of splash damage, but when they're on Overwatch, they only do a single attack and they don't have Overwatch. So if you were banking on that to just do a ton of damage, it wouldn't work out well in your favor.
We're on fire.
So he's got some fire warriors coming in here.
Blood for the Lord of Souls.
He must have a commander, because I can see the buff there. It's one of the best buffs in the game, actually. So he's running in with a bunch of breachers. Got a couple of fire warriors. Now he's got the pathfires with the ion rifles. And those guys are really good against the forces of chaos, because they can take out both the low tier. Yeah, so it is a hammerhead, and he did 250 damage. And now he's sniping my low tier guys here, using their marker lights. Now he must have a lot of points somewhere else, because I'm still not seeing a whole lot of his forces here. And that's the other thing that's kind of hard with this, is not only do you not get points when you kill summon units, but if you're not seeing when they're getting summoned, and you don't know the point values they started with easily for the calculations, you may spend a bunch of turns killing these guys thinking you're going to get a bunch of points, in which case you didn't get anything. So now he's moved those guys together, put them in a vulnerable position, and he's got pretty much 3 different forces, one on each bridge and one coming from the center. I can run these guys down here, but they're a little bit too far back, actually. So what I'm going to do is run the Fleshhounds up, so they can maybe flamethrower a couple units if they can't quite get into position and get the kills. So I'll run this guy down, or run back I should say, and we'll do the Insensate Rage, and that does 13. So it's like I can run him up and get the kill there, or if I just move him up one more, I can lock everything down, and then I'll set this guy up to be able to attack everybody else. And then we can just attack here and get the kill. And I'm going to run this guy over to do some flaming attacks. definitely would have been able to get some kills, so that verified my suspicion that the flame attacks will work real well against the drones if I had to.
Towards the slaughter.
Running these guys up to try to pop their evasion. And I see that he has actually 3 different hammerheads here, so we're going to bring these guys together to start buffing each other. And they're down.
Blood and brass. Death.
And we'll start working these guys down. Probably should have focused on breachers instead, but I just wanted to pretty much attack whoever was closest for me. And then I can maybe force him to bring the breachers in closely. If he continues to overextend, and then I might be able to charge in, assuming my guys can survive. It's like, well, I can see these guys down here, so maybe I can just run you and start focusing these guys down. Now, what I didn't appreciate when I was doing this is how badly the accuracy falls off when you start to get towards the back. So I was trying to use the bridge as additional cover, but really if you just fall back to that last area, that's just as good. And now I'm just trying to decide what's a higher priority, continuing to shoot down these guys in the center or focus on the drones, and I'd really like to just keep focusing on the center here.
Khorne. Khorne.
But it's like, alright, we just took out a bunch of fire warriors, and now it's time to start focusing on some breachers. If he keeps coming towards us, unfortunately the pathfinders are still way out of range for us, and they're gonna definitely hurt us. We just gotta be careful that they can't focus down and snipe our summoning guys here.
Violence and death. None shall
I'm
live.
just gonna bring these guys up to try to get some shots off, and then also get him into a position where he might be able to shoot the guys coming down as well. They're trying to hold the zone of control against the drones. And there's the commander, which is his HQ. And then I'm just trying to decide who I want to attack, and at this point in time is when I start to get greedy, thinking, oh, maybe I can do a ton of damage against the commander, because if I could take him down, that'll really slow down a lot of these buffs to his other units. But he doesn't have the evasion or the extra HP from what I can see, so it's like, let's just get as many shots as we can.
Run must you will.
Now that I know he's got 3 hammerheads back there, I want to keep pulling these Bloodmasters back so he doesn't end up sniping them, because I need to use them to get as much free units as I can. And now I start to overextend a little bit because I'm getting greedy, because I'm like, I'd really like to take out that commander. And with only a 40-some% chance to hit, I did pretty good, almost like a 6 of his health here. So maybe if I were to get closer, I could drop him even more. So I'm just trying to decide, am I really going to bring these soul grinders up? Where do I want to put these skull cannons? And ultimately I decide to go for it. And do another 60 some damage. Yeah, so unfortunately, pretty consistently I was missing some of those shots. But we did almost halfway kill the commander, so that's not insignificant, especially because the Tau don't have the ability to heal. And then again, with all the hammerheads there, he should be able to snipe those guys pretty easily. So I should probably use the left side as a summoning base. And so I'm going to bring these Blood Masters over to facilitate that. And we ended up taking out 13% of his forces, so that wasn't too bad. Problem is I'm pretty sure these soul grinders are going to get completely obliterated, and that's going to be a lot of points. I'm going to end up putting these guys under their protective auras here with the breasts.
The bloody feast awaits.
And what I don't know is how much damage the breachers are going to do. It's like I know they're going to do a pretty good amount, because once you get them into close combat, they do pretty good armor piercing, but I'm just not sure what it's actually going to do against them, so we'll find that out too.
I am the Blood Master. Their blood will flow.
And here these guys come. And now this shows the insanity of these breachers here, because my soul grinder got hit by a hammerhead, right? That's almost a 300 point unit, and this 90 point unit uses these abilities here, and they do just as much as the hammerhead does. Look at that, they do 216. When the hammerhead shot them, it did like 220 or 230 or something, so that suggests that these guys are just way overtuned. His little ethereal's coming down. He does have a cadre, so we gotta be careful with that. And then he overpositioned his commander, or overextended his commander, so he had to use the jump ability to pull him back to try to keep him alive. And now they're getting their shots into you. He did overcharge that, and so he got 280, and it did 40 damage to himself. But look at that, he's already up to 16% of my army by taking out those soul grinders, so I think that probably wasn't the best idea. Perhaps going with the blood crushers would be a better idea, or even the flesh hounds, perhaps. Depending on what you're fighting as an opponent. The blood crushers, you know, you can keep doing the charges, which would be nice. And then if you surround a bunch of vehicles, you may be able to do some decent damage in the back, whereas the flesh hounds, if you had a bunch of infantry like this, we could be sitting there doing flamer attacks on them. And it looks like he's just moving everybody in the center and putting them on overwatch, because once you're more than a couple squares back, you just suffer such severe accuracy penalties. He's just going to do the overwatch. And now he's mopping up our bloodletters here and bringing down some of those drones to help protect things, and he summoned in some more crisis suits. So here I thought, oh, this is going to be an easy kill. I don't want to bring the skull cannons down because I'm worried that they're just going to get shot up and killed with these pathfinders, breachers, everybody else, even if I'm trying to charge in there, so I need to use somebody to soak up all that overwatch. And then we've got these guys over here, so hopefully I can do some charge attacks. Now I'd really like to keep ramming the ethereal. I hate how it doesn't accurately show what the damage is. It says 30 to 40, but as we all know, that's not accurate. especially given the setup here. And the other thing that's real annoying with these skull cannons is you can't determine the path that they do their charge attacks on. So you gotta play these games where you're trying to figure out where you can move them to go through the most units. And it's like, well, if I bring these guys over here to start soaking up all this Overwatch, they should get the evasion bonuses, and if they die, it won't get the points up more. So I wanted to ram there, but then I didn't realize that I wasn't going to be able to get there because I don't have anywhere for him to come out because I did that. So then he comes here. And now because there's no free area, I can't do another charge attack. So I need to clear out a square. So I'm just trying to figure out where I have the best chance of hitting to try to take out that center guy. And then I need to figure out where I want to go with these guys to do some more attacks and try to charge through. I moved the bloodletters over thinking I was going to easily get some kills since they had 3 almost dead guys. But all these bloodletters here, their attacks still couldn't kill those drones. So that was a pretty big letdown there. I still got a turn here. And here's like, well, if I can just kill one of these guys in the middle, then I should be able to do another charge attack, and perhaps if I charge that cadre again, I can drop him, and that'll get rid of his guaranteed attacks with his other cadre, putting it on the storm, or the hammerheads, and that would be huge for me, because I just can't have him sniping my guys. So it's like, well, maybe I can charge through here, weaken those guys, come here, and so we kill him, and we get the hit, but it leaves him with 2 health. So now he's still alive, so that's a big bummer, because I've now guaranteed those guys dying. Now we get to this side, so it's like I can charge through these guys and hit them there. It's like, that seems reasonable, so let's do that. Get the hit. Now, I don't know if I missed an attack or what happened there, because I was expecting it to do more damage for sure. If I do that, then I'm going to be going around everybody. It's like I gotta take the breachers out since I know how much damage they do. And I was thinking if I did that charge attack that I was going to be able to kill the breachers with just one of those, but clearly that is not the case. So now those are down. And we've just barely come out ahead with killing his points since he took out those soul grinders. And now's where I'm realizing if I'm so far back, I don't have any access to power of attacks.
Violence and death.
So that's no good when that happens, and it's like I really want to just start dropping these guys. I was hoping, well, maybe I can just about kill these breachers, and that'll help me, but I end up missing. Now I'm just trying to figure out how I want to position guys to get the most attacks here. So I got a 45% chance to hit here, 45 here. Really like to try to take that breacher out if I could. And end up landing the attack, so he's almost dead. Now it's like, I wonder if I can get the snipe with my soul grinder here. Alternatively, I might have been able to kill that cadre. So I decide I'm going to just move over here to get some attacks going. It's like, if I can just take out the breacher, that would be pretty good. But these ones are full health, so I thought they were scarier.
I am the Blood Master.
These guys are back up for summoning. It's like, well, just go ahead and get the kill here. I could run them up and use the Growling again, but I don't think that's going to work very well. And now I'm just bringing these guys over this way so I can summon more units. I get another skull cannon, so I'm pretty pleased about that. Get him over on the side. I'm a little sad that my Bloodmaster is going to totally get destroyed. I would be very happy if he would have landed the attack and weakened all those breachers, and it would have been worth it, but the fact that he missed that attack just totally screwed me.
Violence and death.
Now we're all the way through 1 here, so that accuracy and movement will be a powerful ability. The second level to decrease momentum could be good as I'm killing all these guys, because I'm just checking to see how much momentum he actually has, because he's not only getting kills, but he's going to start getting additional attacks, because every turn I'm going to be feeding him momentum as I'm killing all of his infantry, because each model I end up killing is giving him 4 momentum.
Blood and brass.
So we're going to just pull these guys over this way to try to keep them protected from all of those hammerheads, and hopefully give you the ability to still get into combat. And that has splash, so that ended up hitting those guys. It's like, well, let's hit again. Unfortunately, the cadre's in full cover, so we weren't able to attack there. And it's like, I'm just hoping to get the kill, and I do, so that's great. Typically, the Demon Princes land more attacks than what you would expect with their 3, especially when they're having splash damage like that. So it's like, alright, it's 26% to 20%. But a lot of these cannons are about to get wiped out. And this guy's in the corner because, again, I want to keep him safe, but at the same time, if he's going to kill a bunch of my units, that might get me to level 3, and that will give me the ability to nuke his units and get rid of a lot of their momentum. So we'll see what happens there. Now I'm just trying to decide, do I push around the back here and then try to get jumps, but I'm just worried that he's going to be able to snipe me, because I need to keep these Bloodthirsters alive, otherwise he's going to kite me with those hammerheads and just kill me from range, especially since he has the cadre to give him 100% accuracy. So it's like, I have everybody else down here for my HQ, so we might as well just bring the Bloodthirsters back here too.
Blood will flow. Rage. Blood from afar.
They're throwing their debuffs down. Marker lights. And even the ethereal's coming up and getting some hits. they're starting their hit and run protocols here. And he's lining them all back here. Ethereal's over here. Now, unfortunately, since I've already used my charge attack, I'm not going to be able to do that because I think it has a 2-turn cooldown, and now he's just pulling these guys all back. See, look at that, 181 damage compared to the 200 and something that Breacher did. 191. So it's just insane that these guys do so much less than the Breachers do. Now, perhaps if you would have known that he was doing that earlier, he could have kept the commander where he was and he would have got some damage and accuracy boosts. But yeah, effectively all he needs to do is kite me, and he should be able to get some easy kills. It's like, do I want to keep pushing you forward to shoot into these guys, or do I want to just run you down to start shooting into here? Or does it even matter? So it's like, well, if I can run those bloodletters down to try to lock some of these guys down into melee, then maybe that'll give me the advantage. It's like, let's just start shooting down to there, and the frickin' missed. So I'm like, oh, that's terrible. I needed that to hit. So we come down, shoot here. That's a hit. So it's like, well, it's a moot point now, so let's just move you up to here to shoot there. So another one's down. Really like to take out those tactical drones and the pathfinders. So I think they're the most dangerous. That's a nice hit. It's like, well, let's just bring the soul grinder down, and maybe what I can do is start sniping this ethereal. So then he's not buffing everything. That would be huge for us. And then that'll also allow us to do something with that skull cannon. Since it's currently on lockdown, and it also has no accuracy here. Since I have to pull it back. So it's like, alright, well, your torpedo attack is done, as is yours, and off a cooldown. It's like this guy is over here, so I can summon some additional units. So I bring him up to do that. We got another skull cannon, so I'm not too sad about that for sure. And it's like, well, your stuff is on cooldown yet. So it's like, oops, I didn't mean to actually bring you. And now I have the Demon Prince, so the question is do I use him to summon, or do I use him to try to shoot the ethereal? And I'm like, well, 3 attacks at 50%, I should be able to hit. And he missed all 3, so it's like, well, I'll move you up, and now I have a worse chance to hit. And I shoot again, and I miss another 3 attacks. So statistically, the chances of that happening, I don't think were very good. You know, a total of 6 attacks
at, what would be an average of 50 and 42. It'd be what, 46? Something like that, so it's pretty disappointing, and now I'm just trying to get everybody in here to just hopefully hold the line. I'm so frustrated that I didn't get that ethereal taken out. And it's like, well, we'll keep you guys back. We'll move you up here. And then maybe I actually want to have some guys over here to use to soak up Overwatch if I'm going to end up using the Bloodthirsters to jump over there. So that's why I decided to go along this bridge here. So I'm like, well, I got to be able to jump and start getting kills against those hammerheads, because with him just taking out all these soul grinders, those are all very expensive units, and it gives him a better chance to get kills and get the point value. And unfortunately that attack missed, so it's like, let's just start moving you guys up here. It's like your summon's up, so let's just summon somebody here. And it's like that one's almost at level 3, so then I can use the nuke, and that'll also help me clear out a lot of these guys as long as they all stay together. And then we do have some blood crushers here as well, so hopefully he doesn't realize my my commander unit's there, or if he does, he doesn't have real good accuracy to shoot across the way with that 100% chance. And he's taking those guys down, so he's able to pull back with that hammerhead. He's just focusing down as much as he can. He's trying to just kite and get shots into me while I'm pulling back. Taking out my skull cannons as he's going.
We can take it.
285. The ethereal's over here. For whatever reason, he decided to buff those guys on the right side there instead of buffing the guys in the center that are about to get attacked.
Khorne is pleased. It matters not where the blood flows from.
And that's a weird thing when some of these vehicles explode, is they don't seem to always explode and do damage at range. So, because I think before he had some of his guys next to my soul grinder, when they blew up, it didn't damage them. You can counteract that by moving any units that are surrounding there the same time before it explodes, and then you'll nullify that damage. But the unit that's getting the shots off can't move quick enough to avoid it. So. And then I think he knows that I don't get points for that, so I think that's why he's not moving those crisis suits away. But I now should have 3, which I do, so it's like, alright, let's move you up here, because now I should be able to throw that big ball of flame here. And I see, well, I can do that, but I think, actually, he's probably got some guys on the ledge here, too. So maybe if I just move you up, I can increase my line of sight. And now I see, yep, he does in fact have that. So if I were to come over one more, I can actually attack another unit. So let's move you up one here and use your points. And now I can attack here, so I just want to make sure I get everybody included. And it's like, it looks like that's everybody that I can get, obviously. So let's do that. And end up doing 40 some damage to everybody. So that was pretty nice. Now it's like, well, I'd like to get you up here to start shooting into these guys. And And I'd also like to just run you down here, because what I might be able to do is just run them down and use their insensate rage to do more splash damage to get additional kills. So it's like, let's do that. And that killed the 2 units here. And then let's start working on the hammerhead. That does almost 300 damage. So now I'm like, dang. If I run this other guy down, I'm not going to be able to reach and get shots off. But at the same time, I need to be able to get these kills. And I'm not sure it makes a lot of sense to do that, and I end up missing the attack. So now I'm like, whatever. I just need to run down here, because I was thinking if I could destroy it with other guys, I can just drop the Soul Grinder down here, or the Bloodthirster down here to kill the Ethereal and the Crisis Suits, but it didn't work out that way. So now it's like, alright, well, let's just take out the Hammerhead, because I needed to get that damage going. And then by these averages with 100%, that should pretty easily allow me to get the kill there. And as you can see, the percentage didn't change because those are free units, which don't count towards the total. So now I have all these other guys down here. So it's like, let's just start moving you up as much as I can. And I guess we're going to start shooting into these Crisis Suits to see what kind of damage we get. And it looks like it's going to be 20-some per turn. It's like, I don't think the charge is going to quite do enough there, but I'm also not sure how much damage it's going to do since it's bugged out and won't tell me the area. So it's like, alright, now he's only got 1. I hate to use the charge to do that for 2 damage, but there's no way I could reach it otherwise. It's like, well, maybe if I move this guy up, I can end up summoning additional units. And then since he's got guys on the right side, maybe if I just move these guys over on the right side, I can start coming to snipe down some of those fire warriors over there too, to keep the kills coming. I've got another turn before this guy can start summoning, so let's just get you guys up top as far as I can go. And then spawn some guys up here. And then we got the Demon Prince, so it's like, well, let's just move you up. It's like, ideally I'd shoot the Ethereal, but we only have a 33% chance, whereas you have a 42 attacking the Breachers, and the Breachers are definitely going to do good damage. So I focused on them. Now I do have one more attack, so I'm just trying to decide, do I put him on Overwatch? Do I shoot the Ethereal? Do I shoot the Hammerhead? It's like, I don't have great chances to hit. It's in the 30s for both. Everybody else is too far away. So it's like, well, let's focus on the Ethereal, because I don't want him to keep increasing the evasion, because I need to do as much hits as I can.
Blood and brass.
Gets his free attack. Uses his special abilities.
All who pass my gaze will be blood tribute.
Gets the shot. Kills him.
Our blades thirst for blood.
Does the other one. Now, I'm not quite sure why he decided to focus on the Bloodthirster like that. Or not the Bloodthirster, the Blood Crusher. But he decides, yep, I'm just going to sacrifice that Ethereal for some reason. And it's like, that works for me, because I just don't want you to keep getting a bunch of shots on me. Or a bunch of bonuses that I'm going to have to chew through all those, bonuses to attack, so I'm just using him to soak up a bunch of Overwatch. And he's dead. And now it's like, well, where do I want to put you? And it's like, let's get you over here and just get some shots into the ethereal. And he evades there, unfortunately. And it's like, well, let's try it again. Shoot. Hit. We'll pull that back, because what I don't want is to try to get here and get blind. So I got a 60% chance to hit, and you hit it.
Lord of Rage, command me.
And now it's like I should be able to get this kill, and I do. And it's like, well, let's start focusing on this hammerhead here. Ideally I'd charge, but I can't risk getting charged at all. So let's just start pulling these guys forward.
Khorne wills it so.
It's like, well, I think it's more important to do the attacks than it is to summon units here. So we drop him. And that gets you all the way up to 98, so I was kind of hoping you were going to get some extra action points, but I think it's a pretty good chance that he's going to die no matter what. So we've got these guys left. And the railgun, the cadre is getting buffed, so there's definitely some dangerous guys here. So I just need to keep closing the distance. I'm a little worried that he's going to be able to use that hammerhead to get away from me and then just use the hover to keep evading. So what I'm going to do is run this guy down, and then with his level 1 I should be able to affect the accuracy and their movement abilities. And since he's got an 2 action points, I can move him up 1 more, and now I can put this accuracy on all these units. So let's do that to slow them down, so hopefully they can't get away from me, and that lasts for 2 turns. So that should definitely help me get there. And now it's 73 to 59.
My gaze will be blood tribute.
He runs away with the commander, trying to boost his accuracies up. Brings everybody up here. Tries to pull them back as much as he can. Get some shots into the Bloodthirster. And I think what ended up happening is he couldn't get good enough percentages on his shots, so he ends up conceding. And we ended up taking the victory, but it was definitely a very close match, and I could have very easily lost that. Skull cannons and things, I think this plan definitely works very effectively. I'm just not totally sure on the Soul Grind. I mean, certainly if he would have gone with stealth suits and some of those other units like the Ghost Kneel or whatever it's called, then I think those Soul Grinders would have paid dividends for me, because it would have done a lot of damage, because it has great armor piercing, and that's what its main thing is to kill, is those are like your heavy armor ranged units. But they are just horribly outranged I should say, by the hammerheads, and then they're profoundly outgunned by the breachers. The breachers can just chew through those Soul Grinders like nobody's business, so I had no idea that was going to be that effective. Like I said, those dang breachers were doing more damage than the freaking hammerheads were, so they kind of nullified the whole benefit of having the Soul Grinders there, because ideally, well, part of the reason they're so expensive is if they have the free attack, so if you get them into melee, but there's no way I could even get them into melee since those breachers were just slaughtering them so badly. So definitely I'm hesitant to bring those guys back on further matches if I'm playing against with the Forces of Chaos. I think doing Soul Grinders, or not Soul Grinders, doing Blood Crushers, or even the Flesh Hounds would be a much better use of those points, because I could have brought several of them out, and using them to just soak up fire and then having that flame flower attack will work great. And then they also have enough armor piercing that they'll be able to attack the vehicles, and if nothing else you can get them surrounded and stop them from escaping you, and you'll then have some weak fodder to then charge into the stealth units to take their overwatch, since most people will have the fusion cannons on there and only one model will get killed, and then you can use your more expensive units than to get the attacks in melee and just kind of swarm them. So I think that's probably a much more effective use here, but definitely shows the power of the breachers against the forces of Khorne. Obviously the Tau Pathfinders with those ion rifles just do a ton of damage to everything, so that's always a nightmare. The Fire Warriors, I'm not entirely convinced were a good pick. Now, they do have the ability to cast the targeting sight or whatever it's called at a longer range, and then if you end up using broadsides, you can then use that to use their missiles to get 100% accuracy. So ideally what I think you should do if you're going to end up doing with a super long range build is you should have, you know, a couple of guys with marker joints, bring out the broadsides, and then you can have a couple of fire cadres, and then you can get 100% accuracy with the cadres ability. That has a 3-turn cooldown. You can then use your marker drones to put another high value target. Then the following turn they can end up launching those Death Strike missiles or whatever they're called, which are the single missiles, and those will have 100% accuracy, and you could snipe out another high value target at 100%. And obviously in between there you get that free generic missile attack to go after infantry as well. So then you've had two 100% attacks to snipe out high value targets, so that would be amazing. And then by that time the enemy forces should have closed the distance on you that you can then start using their regular attacks the following turn, and then the next turn you're back up to having the cadres abilities to get the 100% accuracy again, so you can keep cycling that through, and that way they don't get the massive debuff accuracy debuffs by shooting through all the obstacles here. You can just totally nullify that, and I think that would be an incredibly strong technique to try, and I'm actually kind of curious to use it myself. The other options with the hammerheads, you know, if you have the railgun, it does amazing damage. It can really snipe a lot of high value targets, but honestly the other version may not be bad too, especially if you're using the 100% accuracy. You overcharge it. I think that splash would do a ton of damage, so I think that might be the way to go on this Bridges map. And then if you throw some crisis suits on there, you can then have 3 turns of their missiles on top of that, because if you're doing 2,000 to 3,000 point, I think that's 3 or 4 crisis suits plus 3 broadside, so that's a shit ton of missiles that you can really just totally annihilate the enemy forces while they're coming in, and then hopefully by the time they get to you, you can then just mop up the forces. You throw a couple of stealth suits down there for your scouting, and that would be a nightmare. And you reinforce that with some Pathfinders with those ion rifles, or even the Ghost Nail or whatever it's called, to have some flamers and then their ions. I mean, that would be a really good kind of fun setup. So I think I'm actually going to try to set up a match like that with that kind of force selection to play around with. But certainly this force selection was not a bad one that our opponent had either. I wouldn't do the drones though. I mean, that was a lot of points that he put in there, and I think if he would have had more Pathfinders, more Breachers, that would have been a lot better for him than that massive squad, because I was able to just AoE him down. Now, in his defense, he probably didn't think that I was going to run in there and AoE him with that insensate rage, but made it pretty easy for us to mop up all those points within those couple of turns, and it didn't really slow me down as much, because he said he likes to bring those just act as a distraction, but it wasn't really much of a distraction. I think within 2 turns when he engaged us, we were able to get the kill. So hopefully that was beneficial for you to kind of get an idea of how to play the forces of chaos against the Tau here. Definitely think there's things on both sides that we both learned some things that make this a better match. But thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos. If you are, please give my channel a like and subscribe, because we're going to post more content for you. Have a great day.